Business news now, and China has reduced its growth target for 2023, confounding analysts who believe the country was poised for a sharp rebound after the lockdowns of 2022. The economy is likely to expand by 5% this year, one of the lowest targets in decades. China expanded by just 3% in 2022, with growth dented by draconian lockdowns that kept workers from reaching factories and consumers away from the shops. And Chinese policymakers are keen to ignite consumer spending as a main engine of growth this year.
实施扩大内需战略，同深化供给侧结构性改革。
We need to coordinate the strategy of expanding domestic demand with the deepening of supply-side structural reforms. We will further release the potential of personal consumption and facilitate the faster and growing physical workloads brought by investment. We will fully implement the innovation-driven development strategy and accelerate the construction of a modern industrial system. We also need to adapt, guide, and create new demand with the supply of high-quality products and service to promote a virtuous cycle of supply and demand at a higher level.
新的需求要推动呢，供需在更高水平。
Well, for more on this, let's cross over to Arise Business correspondent Laurie Laird, who is standing by in London. Good to see you, Laurie. The Chinese growth target appears to be surprisingly low. I mean, I wonder if that means that policymakers aren't managing expectations.
I think you've got it right there, Charles. I think that this is an extraordinarily low target, and analysts think that growth could be 5.5% next year, above that 5% target. And I think there's upside risk to those forecasts. It's simply because of the arithmetic, Charles. The growth was so very slow in 2022 because so much of the economy was under lockdown. Remember, they were rolling lockdowns, so there wasn't widespread weakness. There were weakness in regions. Then that weakness went from region to region throughout the year. But if you look at output this year, it's going to be compared to such weakness the year before that I think growth of 5% seems very, very realistic, if not underestimating things. So it may be, having missed the target last year. The target last year was 5.5%. China only managed 3%. And while 3% is much better than most other economies, it is disappointing for the powers that be when they miss those target. So I suspect there is a little bit of management of expectations here. And I wouldn't be surprised for that 5% target to be exceeded, and exceeded by quite a bit.
And we heard the outgoing Premier Li Keqiang speaking of the need for structural reform. I wonder what he means by that, and if it is realistic.
Well, he mentioned a couple of specifics, and the specifics were things that were magic to foreign investors' ears. One was making it easier for foreign investors to put money into China. There still is, despite the strife between the U.S. and China, there still very much is an appetite to reach that very big cohort of Chinese consumers. Li Keqiang also talked about cleaning up the property market. That's been such a drag on Chinese growth. He also talked about improving trade with China's partners. These are all things that foreign investors want to hear, but two caveats. Li Keqiang did not give very much detail, and of course, he will be leaving. This will be his last set-piece event of his political career, and the belief is that Xi Jinping, the president, is bringing in a new economic team that are people that are loyal to him. The belief is that this will be party loyalists, top people in the Communist Party, rather than the technocrats that have been in charge of the economy up till now. And it's not just Li Keqiang who's being replaced. The heads of most of the regulatory bodies are being replaced. And again, the fear is that these will be party-friendly appointments rather than people who are steeped in knowledge of these areas.
And of course, Laurie, increasingly around the world, including this part of the world, I mean, whenever China coughs, people get nervous. I mean, how will China's recovery affect the rest of the world?
Absolutely. It used to be when America sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold. It now feels that way with China. China is such an important cog in the global economic wheel. retailers from across the world would love to reach all of these Chinese consumers. Luxury goods manufacturers are desperate for the Chinese to begin shopping again. Manufacturers are very keen to be, heavy duty equipment manufacturers are dead keen to be sending their goods to China again. So when China isn't consuming, the rest of the world does slow down a bit. And of course, as you said, Charles, China has been so very dependent on minerals and raw materials that are coming out of the ground in Africa. We had oil down today about 2%. It's creeping up a little bit now because of the disappointment with those growth numbers or those growth targets. Metals prices all down, iron ore, aluminum, nickel, all down today.
We've got about 30 seconds or so, Laurie. Credit Suisse, it's lost the confidence of a key backer. What's going wrong there?
And this Harris Associates had a 10% stake in Credit Suisse as recently as 4 or 5 months ago, and they've always been a supporter. Credit Suisse, though, cannot seem to find the right formula. Lost $8 billion last year. They're trying to reorganize, but they've been caught by so many regulatory problems. Difficult to see where Credit Suisse goes from here. But Charles, I think this is a story we'll be discussing quite frequently over the next couple of months.
It certainly sounds like it. Laurie, thanks very much indeed. Laurie Laird, Arise business correspondent, talking to me there from London.